It recently just came out that early signs are that Doctor Who Legends of Sea Devils has consolidated to around 3.4 million viewers. Exact figure from BARB expected later this afternoon. I don't know whether there was an updated figure. I'm going to just check TV Zone now to make sure I haven't missed one. Nope, I haven't apparently. We do have here, it says 3.34 million on Doctor Who TV, so I assume that's the up-to-date figure. Which does make it, I believe, officially now, the lowest viewed new era Doctor Who episode by quite a ways, both in overnight and consolidated. For those of you interested, the previous record holder for lowest overnight viewing figure is actually Eaters of Light, which had 2.89 million overnight and 4.73 million consolidated. And obviously Legend of Sea Devils, 2.2 million overnight, 3.34 million consolidated, which is also, interestingly, about sort of like, it's about 1 million less than what Eve got, which is quite bad. Like, let's not sugarcoat it, it is a bad result for the show. There's not really much way you can gloss around that. It is impressive that it got more than 1 million views in catch-up. That is quite impressive, but it is still a poor result for the show. Not that it matters too much, like, some people are going to be like, sound the alarm bells, Doctor Who's dead, but like, we know the show's future is secured for at least a few more years. RTD2's coming up. And I don't think the centenary will get this low because it has the added benefit of not only being a regeneration, but having many, returning elements for fans and stuff. So I reckon that episode will probably have a bigger boost because of it's more of an event. Like, as much as we call Legend of Sea Devils a special, it is kind of, how do I say, it's not very special if you look at it from the outset. Obviously it has the Sea Devils, but to a casual audience, the Sea Devils haven't been around for 40 years. Like, it doesn't have that wow factor, whereas with the Centenary, we have Dalek, Cybermen, the Master, multiple returning characters, and Jodie's regeneration. Like, it's definitely going to have a higher total than this. So I wouldn't get too worried about this figure. Like, it is a bad figure, but it's not, signalling the death of Doctor Who. I know people have said that I believe it's the second lowest Doctor Who viewing figure of all time, only being beaten out by a part of Battlefield, I believe, that got 3.1 million, I believe, consolidated. But obviously, times were very different then, times are very different now. It's hard to compare those two things, but people naturally bring that up. As I say, not a good result, but it's not the end of the world. Like, we know that the show's future is secured. This doesn't mean they're going to cancel it. Everyone remain calm. It's not a good figure, but, it's undoubtedly a bad result, but it's not like the end of the world, essentially. But it is sad, although I must say, if there was one episode that was going to get this number, like, be the lowest viewed of New Who, it kind of does make sense to be Legend. I don't empathise the people who had to work on it. It was probably really hard under COVID restrictions and stuff like that, but we can't deny it was rather shoddy in places. The story was kind of and I'm not saying that viewing figures equate to quality, as we see here in Series 10, World Enough and Time, which is widely considered one of the best Capaldi stories. Only got 3.37 million on broadcast overnight with 5 million consolidated. Which is still better, but obviously it's not like a huge number, especially by 2017 standards. So yeah, I'm not seeing specials equate to quality, but like I'm not saying that viewing figures rather equate to quality, but what I am saying is, if it did have to be any episode, it kind of does make sense to be this one, is what I'm getting at, I guess. Looking at it in the context of when it was broadcast, it wasn't particularly special, even by special standards, and yeah, I know people are going to mention that it was up against Britain's Got Talent, which is a valid point. To be fair, Britain's Got Talent is even lower now, I believe, on the night this broadcast, with 2 million. Then Britain's Got Talent got 5 million, which is still, that's obviously a lot lower than it used to be, but like, for Doctor Who to be getting less than half of that isn't great overnight. I don't know what the consolidateds were for Britain's Got Talent that night, but I would assume obviously they're higher than Doctor Who's consolidated figures. Obviously, well, they would be because the overnight figure was more. But yeah, as I say, it's not the end of the world, but it isn't a great figure at all. But yeah, that's essentially the viewing figures. See, from my opinion, no one knew it was going to be a bad episode. The lack of advertising. Yes, no, that doesn't help either. Like, I barely saw this anywhere. I know people have said that it appeared on like idents and stuff, but you are right in that. Like, I think the advertising for this episode was really poor. I think that is one of my general criticisms for this era. Outside of the actual show itself, I think the way that it's marketed is kind of not to its benefit, unfortunately. Shout out to Debs Iona, Shane Smith, Ree Keffin, Seb Lowndes, Jay Monroe, Hash Shandycoot, Patrick Mewson, Simon Ashley, Steve Safaro, Andrew Townsend, Alex Robbins, Michael Dykes, Paul Bryden, Sam Yates, Michael Rhodes, Jerry the Meerkat, Heretic, Bibliotecaria Nerd, and Cameron Jefferson. If you want to become a member, feel free to do so. It really helps out. You get exclusive posts, shout outs in every video, and even your own badge and custom emojis to use.